Welcome to another edition of Hey Bobby with my good friend, Senior VP of our Cleveland Guardians, Bob DiBiasio. And you can see the hat that he has on today. It's the National Museum Baseball Hall of Fame. And I want to go down that road, but talk about someone who's not there. I feel, and I think Bobby does as well, and I know he has some things to present to us. Kenny Lofton is not in this museum. He is not in the Hall of Fame. I, for one, don't understand why when I look at some other names that are there. Maybe because it was all the bashing with that team of the 90s, but Kenny was the guy flagging down the balls in center, getting on base, stealing base, and making that offense go. So, why is the big question? And we're going to bring in Senior VP with the Guardians, Bob DiBiasio, on that. So, Bobby, take the story from there, my friend.
Good morning, Ray. Yeah, without question, I'm in your camp. Kenny Lofton belongs in the Hall of Fame without question. I thought it was just truly unfortunate he got less than the 5% um, balloting that you need to continue to be on the ballot after being on the ballot the first time. And I think his was just shy of 4%. And so now it's up to the era committees, and let's hope that once they really do think through his career that he played in an era of performance enhancements and didn't take any, was clean, played 17 years. Um, all right, so saw him at Firestone. We had our Cleveland Guardians charities golf outing a couple weeks ago, and we just started laughing because on Sunday, this coming Sunday, he will turn 60. Think about that. Does that make us
I
feel
did.
old? I was like,
Exactly.
you and Chuck Nagy and Sandy and God, that whole crew is now getting up to that age. Being 71 myself, you're like, oh my goodness. But here's a guy that he grew up in East Chicago, Illinois, went to the University of Arizona, actually a teammate in hoops, Final Four, U of A hoops player with Sean Elliott and Steve Kerr, and didn't play a whole lot of baseball in college. Um, I firmly believe, and I think Kenny agrees with it, that the only way he really got an opportunity to play baseball was the Houston Astros drafted him in the 17th round, um, only because the Tucson Toros, who played at High Corbett Field, which was our spring training home back then, back in the day from like 47 to I think 92, um, that the Houston Astro organization knew about Kenny. Tucson Toros were the Astros AAA team playing at High Corbett Field. And so they knew about Kenny in the college town of Tucson and played a little bit of baseball after his senior year of basketball. So here's a guy that is a 17th round draft pick and ends up playing 17 years in the major leagues. I mean, that unto itself is a remarkable story. Um, we get his career rolling the winter meetings of 91. We, Hank Peters and the group looking for a dynamic leadoff hitter. John Hart and the group looking for a speedster leadoff hitter, and they took a gamble on a kid that had played just briefly in the minor leagues. And we sent a switch hitting catcher, Eddie Taubensee, and pitcher Willie Blair. And Dan Rode came to us with Kenny. And next thing Kenny's a six-time All-Star. He's a four-time Gold Glove winner. He leads the league in stolen bases 5 straight years. Then a couple years later, we acquire Omar Vizquel, and all of a sudden we have the best defensive center fielder and the best shortstop to go along with Sandy Alomar behind the plate, and you can see what kind of team. Uh, our guys were putting together. So Kenny is a heck of a story.
Bob, you're pretty close with baseball in general, even in the museum. So I don't want you to break secrecy, but what are some thoughts? I want to go back to why. I mean, you mentioned the percentage that he didn't get. Everything you brought up to me are Hall of Fame numbers, as well as a catalyst for a great baseball run of Cleveland baseball in the mid 90s. When I see other names being mentioned, I say, yeah, nice player, but not as good as Lofton. Nice player, not as good as Lofton. What would be the methodology of someone not looking in his direction?
It's a hard one to come to grips with because I'd look at people like Dale Murphy. Um, and again, I might be too personal. I spent a whole season when I was PR chief of the Atlanta Braves in 1987. Um, Dale Murphy was the star of that team and actually was a star in all the definition of what a star, professional star athlete is all about, disciplined and committed and professional and caring. And why he's not in the Hall of Fame is a shock to me as well. But with Kenny, I just don't know because again, he was one of the most dynamic, if not the most dynamic leadoff hitter in the game of baseball at that time. And on a team that was World Series caliber year after year and had played 17 years. So you think about all of that. He never got to 3,000 hits. Maybe that's one. But his WAR, if you look at that new age stats, that's pretty impressive. Um, in his Hall of Fame caliber, I just I have trouble just the eye test when you saw a guy play every day. Um, he played 10 years with us and then he played um, singularly 1 year, half year for the next 7 years with teams. So he played for 10 teams
Because
because
they wanted him.
because everybody that was going to the postseason wanted Kenny Lofton on their roster. So that
Yes.
again is another one that says, well, everybody wanted him on their postseason roster because he could go get a fly ball, he could steal you a base, he could lead off for you. The battles between him and Randy Johnson are legendary.
Almost 2,500 hits, Bobby. I mean,
Right,
there are many guys in the Hall of Fame that don't come even near his hit total, let alone the stolen bases and defense. I mean,
right,
you're not talking about a pesky leadoff guy that drew walks like a Mickey Rivers or something
right.
like this. Kenny Lofton had 2,400 and a bunch of change hits on his baseball career resume.
It's funny every time nowadays when I introduce them, like at the golf outing, at the luncheon after the golf, and other events that we're together, I will start my introduction with him as this gentleman belongs in the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Um, but I also add, and I used to lead off with this one when we talk about hits. Uh, that Kenny Lofton in a 17-year big league career batted 299, had a 299 career batting average, and I'd always look at him and go, "You couldn't get one more hit to get to 300?" I say, "What's that all about?" When in actuality, if you do the numbers, same number of at bats, he would need, I think, four hits to get to rounding off to 300. So um, that was like Dennis Martinez. Unbelievable what Dennis Martinez threw 3,999 innings. And I always look at him and I was like, you couldn't get one more inning, get three more outs, or you could get to 4,000 innings. And they just laugh at all that. But
Hey,
that's
to
ball
wrap it up
stats.
with the
Yeah.
wrap it up with Lofton, I've
Yeah.
never been obviously in a conversation with you and Kenny, but you've related to me many, many times. As good of a ball player as he was, he has a big friendship with the organization, you, and a really, really likable guy as well.
Yeah, here's a kid that again grew up in East Chicago, Illinois, mostly by his grandmother. Um, he he's really interested in the film business, and so he started a film company and did production for a couple sitcoms and
Mm.
got to know some people and actually backed a couple movies and um, he has a foundation that helps on the West Coast because he now lives in LA. Had a home in Tucson for a long time, but most of the time he spends in LA for youth baseball and softball in that area, which we assist him on. And just, a good-hearted soul. I just, his discipline, as all these guys who you talk Hall of Fame, the one thing they had was a burning desire to be the very best, but also this incredible commitment, dedication um, they brought to their craft. And Kenny just loved competing. I mean, again, 17th round draft pick, play 17 years in the big leagues. That's just a remarkable story.
Senior VP with the Guards, Bob DiBiasio. Of course, we've got the Red Sox in this coming weekend to complete the homestand. And Bobby, how about it last week on the road? 6-1 road trip by our guys, playing pretty darn good baseball.
Well, without question, we went into Detroit and they were scuffling, and we took it to them. And then we go play a really good team that has turned it around with Don Mattingly as their manager, and to win 2 out of 3 there, facing their 3 best pitchers. And our pitching was just phenomenal. I thought Cade Smith's effort the other night when he won 2-3 on the, you know, Trey Turner and Schwarber and Bryce Harper. That was pretty awesome to win that game. I think it was 1-0 in that game. So great road trip. We're playing well. Kids are starting to get their foundation under them. It's going to be a fun team to watch over the summer.
There you go. Hey, Bobby was Senior VP Bob DiBiasio with the Guardians. Bobby, as always, my friend, I appreciate you making time, and we'll do it again next week.
Thank you, Ray. Go Guardians.